Okay, so I've been detailing the fish and the kid in time lapse, and yeah, so once again I use like really basic sculpting techniques. I'm not super good wrinkles and clothes sculptor, so I just try to bring some enough informations that will allow the light to interact with somehow a clothing that can appear to have fold and so on. So even though it's not perfect, it's going to give me a base, and if I need to fix the clothes later, I do it by painting. And same for the fish. So I didn't want to add too much surface details on that fish because I think I'm going to texture it. I want it to be smooth and aggressive, just like it is. So very aggressive silhouette with smooth surface, and I think I'll texture it with some nice patterns of colors and suggest that it is like really wet and really shiny, like fish are. They have like this coat of reflective, transparent reflective materials on top of a more diffuse material. So yeah, I really want to bring this coating feeling without having like too much highlights on the surface, which are going to catch too much light details. I don't want like to have all of these small spots of texture everywhere. So I'll see if I can make this work. And now I want to do something in keyshot, because right now it becomes a bit difficult to read this silhouette, because I know that in Photoshop I'm going to play with the local colors and the atmospheric perspective to help to separate each of these foreground elements from the background. But right now it's a bit messy, so I'm going to fake atmospheric perspective in keyshot, which you can do actually. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Oh, I do it anyway. Maybe there is another way, but I don't think so. I've been looking quite a while and sharing this trick online, and I think it's, at least right now, the most effective way to fake atmospheric perspective. So I'm going to go into flat texturing mode, and I want to add a gradient map. Color gradient. Into performance mode, free camera. So basically my camera is here, so I'm going to change the direction of this gradient. Mapping tool. Okay. I also want to change the gradient spreading, the gradient scale in this direction. I want to make sure that I'm going from full black to full white. It's going to be easier to spot. Okay, so basically I want to have black in the background and almost completely white in the foreground. Okay. Let's see from the camera how it looks. Camera, I hope this is the 29. Actually, I don't remember which camera it was. Let me check that in my recording. I'm coming back. Okay, I believe this is 29. So it creates this rough depth map. Sorry. And now I'm going to use this really cool material graph feature in KeyShot 6 and above, and I'm going to just map this flat material to a diffuse material. So let's add a diffuse, and now I'm going to map this one to label 1. And I think I need to do it the opposite way, so let's add this to, okay. Put this one into diffuse, this one flat. Okay. Sorry. What the hell? Okay. I'm doing it again. So this is my. Okay, I think I screwed up. Let's do it again. Let's see if I can undo this. Okay, so this one is my main material. Okay, so I want this to be diffuse, and I want that one to be a flat. Okay. I think now I need to invert these gradients like that. Let's get back to enlightening to a basic rendering mode. It's kind of working, but the values are wrong. I'm sorry, I did this a while ago, and I saved it, and since I lost the initial pass I did. So basically what I want to do is to have this flat material that is driven by opacity with these gradients. This way I can only reveal the diffuse wherever I need it. And I think this flat material have a 50% gray, and this diffuse material, it also have a 50% gray, but for some reason the values are not correct, I believe. Let's try full simulation to see if it's come from me. Right. Okay, so maybe it's because of the gradient. Ah yeah, I think it's better like that. And because it happened at the shader level, the water have a very strange behavior. So I have to just ignore it. So in the other windows, I'm just messing around with the settings to find the right, just the right amount. Okay, and now I'm going to change this white here to a darker value. This way it's going to affect less, because it's linked to the opacity. Okay, it starts to look better. I just want a suggestion, but I don't want it to be too strong. Okay, if I remove it, this is what I have. And now if I'm adding it, it's not perfect, the water is not reacting very well, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, I guess it should react, I think, better than that, but maybe this is a bug, I don't know. Okay, so this is the setting. Color gradient, flat material that is linked to label 1 of a diffuse one. So this way it makes it a bit easier to see each shape and have an idea how it is going to separate in the composition. Okay, so let's get back to real time a bit, so I can share my thought process. So now I want to detail this character. I think I've been avoiding or procrastinating the detailing of this one forever. So now it's time that I'm getting at it. So first I'm going to get his hands in the proper position. So same as I did for the child and so on, I'm going to remove everything I don't need. Otherwise it's going to be a bit tricky to see what I'm doing. Okay, umbrella, the head, where is the red? Maybe I'm going to move everything on top on the stack, so it will be easier to spot. And the head. Where is this? It's plain. I need the rod, which is here. Yeah, and the board. So it might be a bit difficult to get the position of the hand right, but actually it's not a a big problem, because these details, they are quite small in pixel size. So if it doesn't match exactly, I can fix that in 2D. So I'm really trying to be really focused on the big picture, because I can't possibly fix everything in 3D because it will take forever, and it's still a painting process. So I just want to get enough so it's going to work in once projected on the Canva. And maybe the hand is too small overall. It's possible that the hand is too small. Let's see if I can maybe blow the hand a bit. Deformation. The size deformation is a bit annoying, because I never manage to find how we set the pivot point in the brush. Actually, this is one of the things that is very annoying about the brush, but I never try to fix it. I'm sure there is a way to decide where is the pivot for this for the deformation features, but I don't know. Maybe let's inflate just a tiny bit, because I still want this to have some weight on screen. So if it's too ready to if it's too thin, it's going to be difficult to give it some weight, especially with a short lens. Something I notice is the shorter the lens, the more I need at least to exaggerate some shapes to make them read under that specific lens. So I know the articulation here doesn't make any sense. It's not like that how it should function, but I don't think it's going to be seen too much. We're just going to roughly fix the anatomy, but and I really have a specific look for this character, for its clothing, so it's going to be really fun to detail the clothing, because I really want it to look like a 70, I don't know, like he wear like a 70 something wintry suit, wintry costume. So it reset my material, but no problem. Diffuse. That's just the main thing I have to say about this combo. ZBrush keyshot with the bridge. It's extremely frustrating that the linking process doesn't remember the materials by ID. I don't know. I mean, there is certainly an inner ID in the software for each of these matcap and materials, but as soon as ZBrush crash, or sometimes just like it does right now, if you change a material in Keyshot and assign another one, when you sync again, when you're doing the linking process, the material is lost. So it's a bit annoying, really. I think that could be something they might fix in the future, I hope, because sometimes it drives me crazy because I have like to redo the exact same thing over and over again. This is why I try to often save my materials in Keyshot as soon as I have like a bit of customization about the material. So this hand is going to be in which position? So I have to change the size a bit as I did for the other one. Put it back into position. Maybe move that umbrella to the back a bit. Oh yeah, something I wanted to do also is to rotate this umbrella, because it doesn't make really sense to have this composition wise. It's not super interesting, I think. I'm just going to put the axis right in the middle so it doesn't impact too much the 2D projection. I don't know, maybe something like that looks more natural and would be a little more interesting at the composition level. I'm thinking about this curve here. I think it's better if this curve comes from the outside of the shape rather than from the inside. I think I remember that I inflated the other hand just a bit. Let's see. Yeah, I think this, as I said, this handle on the other side is definitely more interesting. Something I might want to do is to change the length of this rod here. I would like to see if I have like a very short handle, if it's not more interesting at the composition again level. Because right now, yeah, I think it's way better like that. I just want to suggest the bottom of this rod under the elbow just a bit more. I think it breaks the silhouette a bit more. It looks more dynamic like that. Okay. So now because this guy have pants. I know that a lot of this word anatomy that was generated by DAZ 3D and that I didn't really fix is going to be hidden, so I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. Maybe I can fix a couple things. Still. Okay, the arms are isolated, so I'm going to only concentrate on the bust. Invert, blur, invert. Okay, what I'm trying to do right now is to get a gradient, a masking gradient from the outside of the mesh here. So ideally I don't want to be able to, yeah, like that. I don't want to be able to move the border of the mesh to protect them. Because this rib cage is way too prominent. I still want the character to be extremely skinny and have a bit of this V shape of athletic, skinny characters, but it's way too much right now. And it might not even be seen in the final shot, but as I said, sometimes it's just for myself, just to get a bit excited by the shape and feel some interest about it. This muscle here looks super odd, super strange. That's one of the issues with DAZ 3D. It's how bad it's deforming the anatomy. For very basic poses, it's okay, but as soon as you start to go a bit extreme on the pose, it starts to look super weird. I still want it to be a bit more on the cartoony side at the end, so I don't want too much of a precise anatomy. Yeah, that's something that happens very often in DAZ 3D. This is like this absolutely nonsense at the pectoral and the shoulder. I could totally avoid to spend on this at times, but I just want to make sure that I have a proper base underneath. just add some landmark. Most of the time there is like a lot of fixing on that 3D mesh. If they are paused. If you don't pause them, it's okay, but if you start to pause them, there is a lot of fixing to do if the anatomy is something important. If it's not, well, if it's going to be hidden, like in that case. I just want the main shapes to look okay. Just somehow a bit realistic. Okay. Let's say it's going to be acceptable. Okay, so paint, extract, accept. Let's remove the coat. I have this. I try to have the reflex to back up each time I'm going into the deformation palette, because in my experience it crashes quite often. Not the polish by feature and so on. I think it's pretty solid, but there is like some of this algorithm, especially I think the inflate balloon. The inflate balloon it crash quite often. Okay. I'm going to remove all of the inner geometry that I don't need. They're hidden. So divide a couple times and start to suggest some wrinkles. So I want it to have a very tight pants, but to suggest still a couple wrinkles. And most of the wrinkles I'm doing, if it's going to be seen from a distance, I generally don't look at references. I mean, I could and I should probably, but it's really a matter of time and efficiency. So I know what I want is to have the light to interact with something that could behave like a wrinkle, but I don't want to spend too much time, because this is the kind of thing which is for me much easier to solve in Photoshop, and it's more efficient, I believe, because I can really concentrate on fixing what makes sense in the final image, so I can really avoid to spend too much time on something that is not going to be seen. Which here I'm not doing. I mean, I have no idea if it's going to be seen. It's probably not. So just some indication for myself. Let's see. Okay, so back face masking, because my my brush is too wide and it does this weird deformation. Let's see. Does it read? Okay. Just while I'm at it, just let's add a suggestion of a belt. Sorry for the weird shape. Just trying to break the silhouette of the pants. A little bag under the oh my god, today I forgot all my English vocabulary. That's terrible. Well, you know what I mean. Pants always do this kind, often does this kind of small bag where the fabric has deformed with time. At the knee place. Okay, so now the coat. So brush move topology. So I use a lot for these brushes. I really like this feature to have, like, for move topology it's BMT. I know I get my move topology brush. For snake hook it's BSH. For many brushes I try to memorize this key combination, so I don't have to. I don't need all of my brushes in here. Otherwise it takes too much place in my interface. Move topology. Okay, so this piece here of fabric will be underneath this one. Okay, let's remove these nipples that have been extracted from the underneath mesh. And while I'm at it, I think I'm going to do a quick z-remesher just to make sure I have a cleaner topology, because right now I think I'm going to, even though I love the accidents, the sculpted accidents, I think it's going to be quite a pain in the ass. Okay. Backing up. Selecting only. Oh, it doesn't work. What have I done? I wanted to select only the outer part of the shape, but I can't. And display property double. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I can. I already did, I believe. Okay, it's already in only one side, which is what I want. So double and geometry, z-remesher, and let's z-remesh it. I don't know. Let's try the default settings to see if 5k polygons will be enough. Yeah, it's good. So I'm going to divide this. Brush, move topology. Okay. Okay, and now I'm going to draw a piece of a fold, this piece of fold that goes on top of it, something like that. Okay, and I'm not going to try to be too perfect about it, because it's going to be easy to separate the excelling pieces of geometry which are going to be created in case I did this. Just going to clean that. Okay, let's say it's okay, so subtool, extract. Okay, accept. So I'm going to split this by, no, yeah, so this is a feature I use often, which is very handy. So I'm selecting just a few polygons of the piece of geometry I want to isolate, and with Ctrl-Shift-A I'm expanding to the shell. So now I only have that shell, and I can keep my polygroups, which is really handy. So I'm going to delete hidden, and now I'm going to clean this with my clip curve brush. Okay. To duplicate and mirror and move it to the other side. Honestly, this ZBrush gizmo, once you used to it, it's really very powerful. I think there is things that are much more easy to achieve with this gizmo than with the classical one. Rotate, to rotate slight, just a bit. Yeah, maybe like that, it's better. And sometimes I get caught into too much detail, which happens quite often. Okay, just moving it just a tiny bit to create some shadows. Otherwise, it's going to only be a drawing on top of the actual coat. Okay. And I need this to go downward like that. Okay. So now, directly on the underneath body, going to draw a pull over. So geometry, yeah, I have 2 levels of subdivision. Okay, back up, deformation, inflate, maybe smooth a bit or polish a bit here. No. I'm going to scale it in that direction just a bit. And now maybe polish crisp edges. Yeah, it's better. Just going to memorize with Ctrl W the poly group, just in case I need to get back to it quickly. It's really tiny details. Honestly, it's really because I enjoy doing this in ZBrush, but I'm having fun right now with this character, so I'm doing I'm doing it this way, but it could be done in a Photoshop too. Okay, and now the toughest part is going to give some life to this coat, and this is disturbing right here. It's better. This is the part of the anatomy where it's always tricky because it has to be suggested somehow that the volume are realistic. But if it's too strong, it start to look super weird, as it is right now. Okay. Right now this coat is super boring. Brush, move topology. I think it's very boring. And mostly I think because there is no wrinkle, no indication of this coat really interacting with the actual shape of the character. So what I'm wondering if it doesn't make sense, this here doesn't make sense at all. So I would need this, I believe, to maybe fall back a little bit. I'm going to try with another method. So let's smooth it. Okay, and I will try to do something like that. And maybe flatten a bit because this edge is going to be annoying, I believe, quite a lot. Maybe relax just this part. Oh yeah. I don't need the top geometry, I believe, right now, so I'm going to delete higher, go back to my deformation and relax again. Okay, it's better. Yeah, I think it's going to look a bit more realistic like that. So now, yeah, this is going to move back his legs. His leg is. Something like that. And I think I will need to relax also this bottom part of the coat. Okay. to flatten now. And relax again. Okay, much better to begin with. So now I really need to try to imagine how the weight of the coat and the pressure point, the attaching point, will distort this piece of fabric and create wrinkles. So I think there is one here, obviously, because there is tension from this button here. So I'm just going to mark this, and there's going to be probably another tension on this side. It's a bit strong, but I'm just marking my my tension points. So maybe at this place here. Maybe there. From the bottom to the knee. Well, I think this is not very aesthetic the way it works here. Yeah, I think this is the point where I have to admit that it's quite difficult to figure out the physical response of this coat without references. So I'm just going to do my landmarks about this pressure point, and then I'll go into Google to look for some references. Brush move topology. Yeah, and because this mesh was extracted from the bottom one, it has the same issues with the anatomy of the shoulder to pectoral. And also because this is a coat, so I want to exaggerate the shoulder. Maybe with the polish brush. That's super strong right now. No. Okay, so I'm going to sculpt it, indicate it with the damn standard brush, just to make a mark for myself where I want this shoulder mark to be. This is usually the part of the silhouette that's going to be impacted the most, so I want to make sure to have this right before I'm trying to sculpt any details. And I am really sick of this terrible deformation. Really doesn't make sense. Back up. Sometimes it crashes when the brush does an auto backup on something a bit sensible. Sometimes it crashes. Okay. Now with huge sized damn standard brush. Yeah, no, it doesn't know how to sample the surface, so it does very strange thing. So I believe here we'll have like these wrinkles, because if the coat is a bit thick, it's going to force against the shoulder. Polish. Let's see. It's a bit better. I think I need to be a bit bolder with this part. I'm going to rotate the entire piece. Okay, so morph target. I'm going to store a morph target, rotate its shoulder, brush morph. Yeah, I don't understand what happened. Brush morph. Brush reset all brushes. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't know what it was. Okay. And now I need with the clay to suggest that this is in this direction. Maybe polish it back. Okay, I'm sending this into Keyshot to see, and it's I admit it's extremely subtle, and you might wonder why I spend so much time, but in fact this is a good question, and the thing is it really helped me to think about the form of the character, to understand it. So later in Photoshop, when I'll be detailing the character, I'll be able to really understand how the shape is turning around, because I'll spend some time to figure out in the brush, so it's not completely lost. I forgot to record some part of the process. I just realized that when I wanted to stop my recording, so what I did, I used this record forward history function of the movie palette in ZBrush. So I just went back a bit in time in the sculpting process of these codes and later of the umbrella, where I did a few modifications, just so you can see a bit of what I did. So you can see the tool, it's the actual tool, but hopefully you should be able to see these strokes. So once again, it's mostly guessing. I'm mostly trying to guess how the fonts are going to work. It might not be accurate or realistic. It's not what I'm going for. I'm just trying to get a sense of how the fabric is going to deform, and again just have something for the light to catch some details and suggest them, so I can later use my mixer brush and my standard brush in Photoshop to either simplify these details or emphasize some of them, maybe paint some more details if I need to. So it's really guessing how it should compress at some places. So it would be far more realistic if I would use like strong references, but it's quite small on screen, so I don't want to lose too much time. It's just a suggestion.